Mrs. Brooks's by Henry D. Thoreau. What Befell at Mrs. Brooks's by Henry D. Thoreau. Pictures by George A. Overlie. On the morning of the 17th, Mrs. Brooks's Irish girl, Joan, fell down the cellar stairs and was found by her mistress lying at the bottom, apparently lifeless. Mrs. Brooks ran to the street door for aid to get her up and asked a Miss Farmer, who was passing by, to call the blacksmith. The latter lady turned instantly, and, making haste across the road on this errand, fell flat in a puddle of melted snow, and came back to Mrs. Brooks's, bruised and dripping, and asking for opodeldoc. Mrs. Brooks again ran to the door and called to George Bigelow to complete the unfinished errand. He ran nimbly about it and fell flat in another puddle near the former. But his joints being limber, got along without opodeldoc and raised the blacksmith. He also notified James Burke, who was passing. And he, rushing in to render aid, fell off one side of the cellar stairs in the dark. They no sooner got the girl upstairs that she came to, and went raving, and then had a fit. Haste makes waste. It never rains, but it pours. I have this from those who have heard Mrs. Brooks's story, seen the girl, the stairs, and the puddles. The New England writer Henry David Thoreau was born on July 12, 1817, in Concord, Massachusetts. It was here that Thoreau earned his reputation as a writer, a philosopher, and a lover of nature. In his essays and lectures, his poems and books, Thoreau glorified the individual who lives in harmony with nature and who follows his own conscience. He wrote on similar topics in his journals, which he kept for many years. In one of his journals, Thoreau recorded the story of What Befell at Mrs. Brooks's, a humorous incident reflecting a common human failing. What Befell at Mrs. Brooks's by Henry D. Thoreau.